The Oscars are basically my Super Bowl. Hey, I'm Amy and welcome back. The Oscars were on Sunday. I know this is a couple of days late, but I didn't want to stay up until like 3 a.m. editing this to have it out on Monday for you guys. So you get it a day late, but let's see how I did with my Oscar predictions. Every year that I have been doing this, I have been doing a lot of research to make sure I do my best job at predicting the correct winner. I talked a little bit about this in the video on Friday about who I predicted to win each category and who I wanted to win each category, and I think I've been getting a little bit better at this. So for a refresh, here are all the categories that I will be comparing my answers to from the actual winners. Best Writing for Original Screenplay and Adapted Screenplay. Best Visual Effects. Best Production Design, Sound Mixing and Sound Editing. Best Original Score. Best Hair and Makeup. Best Film Editing. Best Costume Design. Best Cinematography. Best Animated Feature. Best Director. Best Picture. Best Supporting Actor. Best Supporting Actress. And Best Actor and Best Actress. To preface this all, I will not be going over all of the nominees again. I'll just be talking a little bit about the category, my prediction of who I thought was going to win, who I wanted to win, and then the actual winner. And then maybe a little bit of my thoughts depending on if I feel like my thoughts are warranted for said category. And I will be telling out my scores in the corner down there with my ratio of which ones I chose correctly. For the first category we'll be talking about is Best Writing Original Screenplay. I had Jordan Peele picked to win, and for who I would have liked to win, it was a tie between Jordan Peele with Get Out and Kumail Nanjiani and Emily B. Gordon with The Big Sick. Of course, Jordan Peele won with Get Out, and I am so happy because that was one of my favorite movies of last year, and it is so rightly deserved for him to win. And he was the first African American director to actually win for Best Writing Original Screenplay, so making history, and I hope things like this continue in the future with the Academy. The next category is Best Writing Adapted Screenplay. I had Call Me By Your Name to win, and my preference to win would have been Logan, and Call Me By Your Name actually won. I was not surprised by this, to be quite honest. I mean, Logan was a very long shot to win. It would have been really nice to have some superhero representation winning at the Academy Awards besides Suicide Squad winning whatever it won last year, because who wants to hear Academy Award winner Suicide Squad? Wouldn't you rather hear Academy Award winner Logan, the most amazing superhero movie? Well, one of the most amazing superhero movies of the last year, but I am kind of happy that Call Me By Your Name won because that story is still really beautiful. I know it fell flat for a lot of people. It wasn't my personal favorite of them all, but I really loved the story of finding yourself, finding love, kind of the first love story, and I mean, it's still a great, beautiful movie. Next is Best Visual Effects. I had Blade Runner 2049 taking home the Academy Award with my preference to win of War for the Planet of the Apes. Blade Runner 2049 won, and honestly, I really think that War for the Planet of the Apes deserved this. The apes looked so good, and they have been getting progressively better since the original, well, since the Planet of the Apes, like the first in this new trilogy of Planet of the Apes. Why couldn't they let a film like that win instead of Blade Runner 2049? And I mean, the visual effects are what make the whole thing. And I feel like I talked about how much I really loved the visual effects in my predictions video, but thinking about it now, I really do think that War for the Planet of the Apes should have won. It was so good. Next, I have sound mixing and sound editing combined into one category because my picks for this and all of the nominees are the same. For both of them, I had Dunkirk to win and as my preference, and for both of them, Dunkirk won. Not surprised. The sound is really what makes that film, one of the things that makes that film so amazing. They use silence really well. The airplanes, the bombs going off in the boat, the guns, the fighting. I mean, half the time most of the characters aren't talking, and there's just like ringing silence after the bombs go off. They did such a great job on the sound design overall. Next is Best Production Design. I predicted Shape of Water to win, with my preference being Blade Runner 2049, and Shape of Water won. I only chose Shape of Water because of my research that I had done for this. I talked about this a little bit in my Oscar predictions video, but the production design mixed with the visual effects really are what make this movie such a beautiful movie. It just makes it stand out because they took what the original film did and added updated technology and techniques to make it look as beautiful. So I really do think that 2049 deserved the win. Next is Best Original Score. I had Alexandre Desplat with The Shape of Water to win this, and my choice was John Williams with The Last Jedi score. I only picked John Williams because I love his scores so much, but again, Alexandre Desplat is my favorite composer, or is the composer of my favorite Harry Potter album, the one that I listen to the most. So seeing him win, which by the way Alexandre Desplat won, if you did not know, is not a surprise and also not heartbreaking for me because I knew anybody else really winning, although the scores and the songs in this were really good this year. It was so hard for me to choose which one I thought would win. Next is Best Makeup and Hairstyling, and for my preference in my prediction I had Darkest Hour winning, and Darkest Hour won. I don't think that anybody really thought of Victoria and Abdul or Wonder winning. I feel like Darkest Hour was just a given to win this category. Next is Best Film Editing. This one I am so upset with myself for. I did not do the research that I should have done into this. My prediction was Baby Driver was going to win, and my preference was I, Tonya. And of course, Dunkirk wins. I should have known. The editing in Dunkirk was my favorite part. I talk about it in my review of Dunkirk. I think I talk about it in my Oscar prediction video when I thought I was talking about something completely different. So I don't know why I didn't choose it to win Best Editing. It was probably the biggest mistake I made this whole night, like the whole ballot. Next is Best Costume Design. I had Phantom Thread to win, with Beauty and the Beast as my preference. I know Beauty and the Beast was a long shot for this because all of the nominees in this category had great wardrobe, great costume design, but all of the amazing dresses that were made for Phantom Thread really pushed it over the top and helped it win. Next is Best Cinematography, and my pick to win was Roger Deakins on Blade Runner 2049, with my preference being Dunkirk just because I loved the way Dunkirk looked. The winner, of course, was a much deserved Roger Deakins. He is one of the greatest cinematographers of this age, and I believe they said that this was his first Academy Award win out of so many nominations, and it's so much deserved for him to win. Blade Runner 2049 was such a beautiful film. Again, the visual effects and the production design made this film look so beautiful. Now we get to the last one before the big six, Best Animated Feature. I'm going to breeze through this one really quick because we all know the winner. My choice and my prediction to win was Coco, and the winner was Coco because who would say no to Coco? This movie was magnificent and I am obsessed with it and I love it. Let's go into Best Actress in a Supporting Role. My choice to win and my prediction to win was Allison Janney for I, Tonya, because she just was one of my favorite my favorite performance out of every single performance from any person in any of the films that were nominated. And of course, Allison Janney won. So much deserved. Her first nomination, her first win. I mean, obviously because it was her first nomination, but she just did such a great job. She was so terrifying as Tonya Harding's mother. She killed it. Literally, like, she She killed the performance. She killed her acceptance speech too. Next is Best Actor in a Supporting Role. I had Sam Rockwell both as my preference and my prediction, and of course, like Allison Janney, Sam Rockwell won. And not surprised, but Sam Rockwell was so good. You hated him. You hated him so much. I'm honestly not surprised that he won because you just hated him so much. You hated his character so much. And in the end, he got a little redemption for himself with the audience, but at the same time, this movie isn't about redemption. It's kind of just a movie about real people doing real life things, and you get that from him. You just get the fact that he's still a racist cop underneath all of it. He wants to find justice against this really horrible guy, even if he's not necessarily the person that they were looking for the entire time. Which, spoiler alert if you haven't seen 3 Billboards. But you really should see 3 Billboards. It's like out on Blu-ray and VOD, so please just go watch it. It's so great. It's probably my favorite out of all of the nominees. Next is Best Actress in a Leading Role. I predicted Frances McDormand would win, but I would have loved if Sally Hawkins had won. I talked a little bit about how I loved her silent performance with the sign language and showing her emotions and portraying the story, moving the story forward through her body movements, her facial expressions, signing everything. But of course, Frances McDormand won with the most incredible acceptance speech, even more so than Allison Janney's. They both had probably the best acceptance speeches of the night. Actually, everyone had really great acceptance speeches this year. Frances McDormand had every single female nominee stand up and everyone applauded them, and it was such a beautiful, touching, heartwarming moment. I was just so proud that Frances McDormand, the classy, badass lady that she is, won because she deserved it. Next is Best Actor. I predicted Gary Oldman would win this, and I really had hoped that either Timothée Chalamet or Daniel Kaluuya would have won this. I would have been totally okay if one of them won against my prediction of Gary Oldman because they both did such amazing jobs as these characters. You really felt Timothée Chalamet's just intense love for Armie Hammer's character and him just growing up. You felt that first love feel. And with Daniel Kaluuya, he just gave a powerhouse performance in Get Out as Chris, and we all know how much I love Get Out, but Gary Oldman won his very, very, very much deserved first Oscar because he just disappeared into Winston Churchill every time he put on those prosthetics. He was so unrecognizable, so powerful, so just Winston Churchill-y, and stood out so well in an otherwise pretty boring and safe, I feel, movie. And now the last 2. Best Director. I had Guillermo del Toro as my prediction to win, but Jordan Peele with Get Out as my want to win because he so much deserved it. Just like he deserved to win Best Writing Original Screenplay, he also deserved to win Best Writing or Best Director because Get Out was just such an amazing movie. Of course, Guillermo del Toro won, and it was very much deserved because a lot of people were saying that this was his best directed film. I'm not 100% sure on that because the only Guillermo del Toro movie that I've actually really seen is Hellboy, and I'm not going to talk about all of my Guillermo del Toro stuff again because you can listen to me talk about that in my predictions video and in my Shape of Water review if you really want to hear me get into why I'm not a huge fan of Shape of Water or Guillermo del Toro. But he did such a great job on this, and it was so amazing to see him win because he's like us. He was just this dreamer from Mexico wanting to make movies in Hollywood, and he did it. And finally, it is Best Picture. For Best Picture, I predicted that The Shape of Water would win, despite literally every person I know telling me that it wasn't going to. And my want to win was Get Out, because of course we all know how much I love Get Out. I'm not gonna go over that again. But Shape of Water won, and everyone was pretty surprised, and I understand why. I didn't realize how many people, like me, thought this movie fell a little flat. The story was just a beautiful, romantic, almost thriller kind of movie. I got 4 out of the total of 24 wrong, and of course film editing was the only one out of all of these that I got wrong. because I made a huge mistake. I made a huge stupid mistake, but I did not get Best Foreign Language Film, Best Short Animated, and Best Short Live Action Film correct. So 2 of those I pulled off of a website or multiple websites with their predictions, and one of them I had picked only because I had seen it. It was the only one on the list that I had seen, so I was just like, I'll just pick this one to win, and it didn't, of course. But I mean, 4 out of 24 is not that bad. It's probably my best score that I've gotten since I started doing this a couple years ago, but most of the time I usually just do a little bit of research. I don't go as in-depth as I went this year, but this is also the first year where I have watched most, if not all, of the nominees in every single category for the most part. There's a couple that I didn't watch because I just didn't feel like seeing them, didn't get access to them, but I did watch most of the main contenders for this year's Oscars. That's how I did. Let me know how you did in the comments down below. I would love to see what you guys predicted compared to what actually won and what I predicted. I know some of you gave me your predictions on my predictions video and some of my Oscar Best Picture nominee reviews, but I would still love to see everything in the comments down below. And thank you guys so much for watching. I really appreciate you, whoever you are. Let me know who you are in the comments down below, and let's be friends. If you enjoyed this, leave a like and subscribe if you're new, because I love talking movies, TV shows, filmmaking, and all of that fun stuff. And next Tuesday, I'm going to be starting a brand new series. It's not going to come out very frequently. It's going to come out maybe once a month. But it's something I'm really excited about, and I really hope you guys enjoy. So I'll see you guys next time. Bye!